Pagetunes read. From the pages of Pagetunes Magazine Monthly, Number 1, January 2024. Story and artwork by Michael Zeigerlig.
The staircase. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows over the narrow country road as we made our way to the old countryside home. The last remnants of daylight painted the landscape in shades of deep orange and purple, creating an eerie but strangely alluring atmosphere. Sarah gripped the steering wheel, her knuckles white against the dimming twilight. The anticipation of our new adventure in this remote, abandoned house was palpable in the air. As a horror writer, I couldn't help but feel a surge of anticipation. Even though buying this house was Sarah's idea, I did some additional research about its history. The stories I'd read about the house were the kind that fueled my imagination. The history of the family who'd vanished here 23 years ago intrigued me for the tragic mystery that surrounded it. Both parents were found dead, in fact brutally murdered, and the 3 children, 2 girls and a boy, Lily, Mia, and Lucas, were never found. I decided not to mention it to Sarah. No need to dampen her spirits about our new home. The road ahead grew narrower, and the trees closed in around us, their branches casting eerie, shifting patterns on the windshield. The silence in the car was broken only by the occasional crackle of the gravel road under our tires. The isolation was almost suffocating, but I relished the thought of being in such a remote and evocative setting. Finally, we arrived at our destination. A desolate homestead that had been vacant for over 2 decades. The house loomed in the dying light, its time-worn facade reminiscent of a bygone era. Ivy crept up the walls, and the windows were shrouded in darkness. Sarah parked the car, and we both sat there for a moment, taking in the ominous sight. It felt as though the house itself was waiting for us, inviting us to explore its dark history, and I couldn't wait to start unraveling its secrets. "Are you ready for this, Mitch?" Sarah asked, her voice tinged with a hint of nervousness. I took a deep breath and turned to her, my eyes gleaming with anticipation. As ready as I'll ever be. With that, we grabbed our bags and ventured into the house. Our excitement grew. Dust-covered and time-worn, but with an undeniable charm. The air inside was musty, and cobwebs hung in the corners, evidence of the house's long abandonment. "Look at this place, Mitch!" Sarah exclaimed, her eyes wide with wonder. "It's like stepping back in time." I grinned, feeling a rush of exhilaration. It's perfect, isn't it? Just the kind of place that can inspire my writing. We began to bring in our bags and boxes, making the old house feel like our own. We started with the essentials, setting up a temporary sleeping area, placing our clothes in a dusty closet, and arranging some basic furniture. There was something thrilling about transforming this desolate place into our new home. We stored our food and drinks in the cellar, a cool and dimly lit space that felt like a hidden treasure trove. The hours passed quickly as we explored every nook and cranny, and soon we found ourselves famished. In the early evening hours, we decided it was time to enjoy our first meal in our new home. With no electricity available yet, we resorted to lanterns and candles for light. It added to the eerie but strangely inviting atmosphere. "I can't believe we're finally here," Sarah said, her eyes sparkling as we set the table with mismatched dishes and antique silverware we had discovered. "This is like a dream come true." I couldn't agree more. The house was taking on a life of its own, and the sense of adventure was intoxicating. The cellar was a dimly lit, shadowy place, with rows of dusty shelves lined with preserved jars of unknown origin. I moved carefully through the cool, damp air, searching for the food and drinks we had stored earlier. The flickering candlelight cast eerie, elongated shadows on the stone walls, creating an unsettling atmosphere. As I began to gather our supplies, a strange noise echoed through the cellar. It was a faint, whispering sound, like a distant voice of children barely audible through the thick stone walls. My heart skipped a beat, and a chill ran down my spine. I strained my ears to listen more closely. There it was again, the strange, spectral whisper. I couldn't make out any words, just an indistinct murmur that seemed to emanate from somewhere within the house. Panic surged through me. I needed to get out of the cellar, and I needed to get out fast. With haste, I abandoned the food and drinks, sprinted up the creaking stairs, and burst into the living room where Sarah was waiting. My face was ashen as I gasped for breath, and I struggled to explain what had just happened. "I heard something, Sarah," I stammered. It sounded like voices, kids' voices. Sarah's brow furrowed with concern, and she reached out to touch my trembling hands. "Mitch, calm down. It's probably just the house settling. You know, old houses make all sorts of sounds." I shook my head, my mind racing. "No, Sarah, you don't understand. This wasn't like any ordinary sound. It was unnatural. It sent shivers down my spine." She looked at me with a mixture of sympathy and skepticism. "Mitch, you're a horror writer. Your imagination is always overexcited. It's easy for you to let your mind play tricks on you in a place like this. Let's not jump to conclusions. We're here to enjoy our evening, remember?" Reluctantly, I nodded, trying to steady my racing heart. "You're right. Maybe I'm just letting my imagination get the best of me." We returned to the table and tried to put the unsettling experience behind us. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss in the old house, but for now, I had to trust Sarah's reassurance and enjoy the meal we had prepared. The next morning, we sat at the dining table, the flickering candle from the night before now reduced to a mere stub. I poked at my breakfast, my appetite still suppressed by the unnerving events of the previous night. The whispering sound from the cellar echoed in my mind, refusing to be forgotten. Sarah noticed my unease and placed her hand on mine. "You're still not yourself, Mitch. Last night really shook you up." I nodded, unable to shake the lingering sense of disquiet. "I can't explain it, Sarah. It sounded so real." She gave me a reassuring smile. "Why don't you investigate that wall, Mitch? Tear it down if you have to. You'll see there's nothing out of the ordinary. Just an old house with a few quirks. And who knows, maybe you could even turn it into a short story. Writing about it might be a therapeutic exercise to help you conquer your fears." Her suggestion made me pause. I began to see the potential in her words. "Maybe you're right," I said, feeling a renewed sense of determination. "I'll investigate that wall and turn it into a story. It's time to put this unease to rest." As we finished our breakfast, my initial excitement and curiosity began to resurface. I couldn't help but think about the potential for a new story, one born from the secrets of this old house. With a shovel, pickaxe, and other tools in hand, I descended into the cellar, ready to confront my unease and uncover the mystery behind the whispering wall. My steps echoed in the cool, dimly lit space as I scanned the area for any sign of those eerie, ghostly voices. But there was nothing, only silence. As I began to dismantle the wall, brick by brick, I felt a growing sense of comfort. Perhaps it was my initial overreaction, and there was nothing more to it than a structural quirk. Maybe we would discover an old wine cellar or some hidden room. The thought of uncovering a forgotten piece of history ignited my curiosity. After about half an hour of strenuous work, the brick wall lay in shattered pieces on the ground. What lay behind it was not what I had expected. A narrow stone staircase descended further into the earth, shrouded in darkness. My heart raced with excitement as I gazed at this unexpected discovery. Was it possible that this was some sort of secret catacomb or an exit tunnel? The possibilities were endless, and the thrill of exploration overcame my previous fears. Yet, as I marveled at the mysterious staircase, a thought crossed my mind. Could the voices I heard have been nothing more than the wind, whistling through an open exit of this tunnel on the other side? It was a plausible explanation, and it offered a rational solution to the unsettling sounds from the night before. During lunch, I couldn't contain my excitement as I told Sarah about the newfound staircase. "Sarah, you won't believe what I found down there. It's a staircase leading deeper into the earth. This is incredible." She leaned in, her eyes shining with curiosity. "Mitch, that's amazing. You should explore further. Who knows what secrets this old house holds? It might be an incredible story waiting to be uncovered." Her enthusiasm fueled my own, and I realized that this was exactly the kind of adventure I had hoped for when we moved into the old countryside home. With renewed determination, I decided to delve deeper into the mysteries of the house, and I couldn't wait to begin this new chapter of exploration. Armed with a flashlight, I descended the narrow stone staircase, each step taking me deeper into the unknown. The distant, eerie voices seemed to grow louder with every footfall, their whispers becoming more distinct, like a chorus of long-forgotten souls. The very air felt heavy with their spectral presence, and my heart pounded in my chest as I delved further into the abyss. The stairs seemed endless, spiraling down into an unfathomable darkness. Each step I took was fraught with trepidation, as if I were journeying into the very heart of my deepest fears. The rhythmic echo of my footsteps was joined by the disconcerting chorus of those voices, their words indecipherable but filled with a haunting resonance. Sarah stood at the top of the staircase, her worried eyes following my descent, her presence growing smaller with each step. Her voice quivered as she called out, "I can hear them too now, Mitch. They really sound like voices. Voices I haven't heard in a long, long time. 23 years to be exact." My heart raced as I continued down the stairs, my flashlight's beam cutting through the oppressive darkness. The weight of her words hung heavily in the air, and I struggled to comprehend their meaning. What? How? What? But as the darkness pressed in around me and the voices became more pronounced, I suddenly realized the truth. Sarah, however, smiled softly, her eyes filled with an eerie calmness. "My siblings have been waiting for a new companion for such a long time. Our parents didn't want to play with us anymore. But now you are here, Mitch. Thank you so much." In that moment, it all became clear. The pieces fell into place, and I saw the resemblance, the connection that I had missed. The shock was overwhelming as I realized that Sarah was not just Sarah. She was Lily, the missing daughter from 23 years ago. Terror took hold of me, and I tried to run up the stairs, but before I could make my escape, 4 small, cold arms wrapped around me from behind, pulling me back into the dark, cold abyss. The grip was unyielding, and I could feel the chill of their touch seeping into my very being. My flashlight clattered to the ground, its beam extinguished, and I was left in pitch-black darkness.
If you've been captivated by the magic of this audiobook, here's how you can immerse yourself even further and support the creation of more enthralling tales for your enjoyment. Unlock the ultimate listening journey with a yearly subscription on Pagetunes.com. No interruptions, ad-free, and exclusive access to the full library of audiobooks and ebooks. Download and enjoy captivating stories offline, anytime, anywhere. Whether through subscription or individual purchases, you play a vital role in bringing more enchanting stories to life. Explore the merch store, from cozy hoodies to stylish mugs and much more. Every purchase directly contributes to crafting more enchanting tales for your pleasure. Thank you, and happy listening.